All right, we'll get started. Thank you for coming. I'm State Representative Todd Stephens from the 151st Legislative District in Montgomery County. I'm joined here today by the good chairman, Representative Bob Gottschall, Representative Joe Hackett, Representative Mike Tobash, Representative Rosemary Brown, and Representative Tom Mert. And I'm here to introduce my proposal to address the unfair school funding formula that we have in Pennsylvania. As you can see from this chart we prepared here, there's a great disparity in the way we fund our schools across the Commonwealth, and it creates dramatic winners and losers. A number of us have been trying to address this issue for a number of years, and last year we even voted against the school code during the budget process, and we've continued to raise this issue, and I thought it was time to finally put forth a proposal to help try to address this problem. To give you some of the details on the disparity, whether you look at it from terms of percentage of funding that comes from the state or just raw numbers, the disparity is huge. Some districts receive as little as 10% of their total funding from the state, while others are receiving 78% of their funding from the state. In raw numbers, in basic education dollars, there are districts that receive $478 per student. Then there are districts that receive $12,000 per student. And that type of disparity leads to a major problem that's been discussed throughout the Commonwealth, and that is an increased reliance on property taxes in those districts that don't receive substantial funding from the state. Obviously, if you're not getting money from the state, you have to fund your schools through locally raised property and income taxes. So I think it's a problem that deserves some additional attention. What I've proposed is to create a fund called the LEEF, the Local Effort Equalization Fund. And what this fund would do is it would send a supplement out to every school district that receives less than 35% of their total funding from the state. 35% happens to be the average for the amount of state funding that goes to our school districts across the Commonwealth. So any district below the average of 35% of state funding would receive a supplement through my proposal. That, when you look at those numbers, 211 school districts would benefit from this proposal. Not insignificantly, 154 legislative districts would benefit from this proposal. And when you look across the Commonwealth, of the 67 counties, there are districts in 40 of those counties that would benefit. Some of them very significantly. I'll run through some of the highlights. In Adams County, 3 of the 6 districts would benefit. In Allegheny County, 29 of 43 districts would benefit. In Berks County, what I like to refer to as the hotbed for property tax reform initiatives, 17 of the 18 school districts there would benefit. In Bucks County, 12 of 13 districts would benefit. Butler County, 2 of 7 districts. Cambria County, 3 of 12 districts. Carbon County, 2 of 5 districts. Center County, 3 of 4 districts. Chester County, 11 of 12 districts. Clarion County, 1 of 7. Clearfield County, 1 of 8. Columbia County, 2 of 6. Cumberland County, 6 of the 8 districts would benefit. In Dauphin County, 5 of the 10 districts would benefit. In Delaware County, 12 of the 15 districts would benefit. In Erie County, 2 of the 13 districts. In Franklin County, 3 of the 5. In Greene County, 1 of the 5. In Indiana County, 1 of the 7. In Lackawanna County, 3 of the 10. In Lancaster County, 13 of 16 districts. Lawrence County, 1 of 8 districts. Lebanon County, 4 of 6 districts. Lehigh County, 7 of 9 districts. Luzerne County, 1 of 11 districts. Lycoming County, 1 of 8 districts. Mercer County, 2 of 12 districts. In Monroe County, and I think we're going to hear a little bit about Monroe shortly, 3 of 4 districts. In Montgomery County, my home county, 22 of 22 districts would benefit. Northampton County, 7 of the 8 districts there would benefit. In Pike County, both districts would benefit. In Potter County, 1 of 5. Schuylkill County, 3 of 12. Snyder County, 1 of 2. Sullivan County, 1 of 1. Union County, 1 of 2. Washington County 2 of 14, Wayne County 2 of 2, Westmoreland County 3 of 17, and York County 15 of the 16 school districts would benefit. So as you can see by that list, this has a broadly based benefit. It would benefit districts all across this Commonwealth, from Erie down to suburban Philadelphia and everywhere in between. There are districts that would benefit. And as I said, 211 school districts, 154 legislative districts. Where do I propose this $250 million would come from? The Racehorse Development Fund. The bottom line is we've so far contributed over $1.7 billion to the Racehorse Development Fund. There certainly are a lot of arguments on both sides of that issue, of whether the Racehorse Development Fund deserves to be funded and funded at the level it's been funded at over the last several years. But I think it comes down to one very simple, basic premise. It's about prioritizing our spending. We all know we're in difficult financial times here in the Commonwealth. We've got to prioritize our spending. And to me, our constitutional and moral obligations to our children in our schools has to come before the initiatives of the Racehorse Development Fund. So with that, I do want to turn it over to one of my colleagues, Representative Rosemary Brown from Monroe County.
Thank you. Good morning. And I think Representative Stephens did a wonderful job in recapping how important this is to so many districts and to so many legislators and especially so many taxpayers. But I'm definitely here today in support of Representative Stephens' legislation establishing a local effort equalization fund as a supplement to the basic education funding formula. And as he said, to assist school districts receiving less than 35% of their education funding from the Commonwealth. And some of you may or may not be aware of this issue and the large discrepancies, as he noted, among the school districts when we discuss state education funding distribution. The history and the current status of my district and Monroe and Pike counties vividly illustrate the discrepancy, and this has been a focus of my efforts since I've been here in Harrisburg, since I've been arriving as a legislator. But fair distribution of state dollars is what this is all about. In June of this past year, both Representative Stephens and I stood our ground and voted no on the school code attached to our most recent budget. Although over the last 3 years, most of my schools have improved in regards to their state funding, I still believe that the percentage of distribution of overall state education funds needs to be better equalized among districts throughout the state. There should never be, as was mentioned a little earlier as well, one school district receiving 76% of their funding from the state, while another is receiving 23% or even 10%, such as 2 of my school districts out of 5 in my area. Actually, 4 of my 5 school districts in my area receive less than 35% of their funding from the state, which is unfair to my local taxpayers. So although I believe there may be and there could be some discrepancies and some light variances among the dollars, the extreme differences in the percentages are just unacceptable to the fairness of all the school districts, to the children, and also to the taxpayers. So this legislation works towards supplementing and directing funds to school districts that receive 35% or less of their funding from the state. My intention is to never hurt other school districts, but we strive to create as fair of a system as possible to ensure that district and taxpayers are treated fairly, and that's exactly what this legislation aims to do. So we are moving in a positive direction, I think, that focuses on a long-running issue in regards to state education distribution funding that has not worked for many school districts for many, many years. So this is also a piece of the puzzle, as Representative Stephens mentioned, with school property tax relief. This, along with strong, responsible local school board decisions and improved economic development, we can definitely work towards improving the school tax issue with less local contribution towards school taxes. So I commend Representative Stephens on this legislation. I support his effort 100% to create this fund to help supplement school districts throughout the state, and thank you very much for being here.
All right, next up, I think Representative Mert has a few comments to offer as well.
Just briefly, I want to express my support for this legislation. I also want to recognize my colleague and friend, Representative Stephens, for thinking outside the box. As someone who has served as a school director in the school district of Upper Moreland Township many years ago, I can tell you that one of our biggest challenges is to maintain a high-quality educational program and at the same time to pay for it. and we are constantly struggling year to year, especially in light of the current economic climate, to fund that high-quality educational program. And I'm just very pleased to see a proposal that helps every district in Montgomery County. The only district that I represent that is not going to benefit from this directly is the Philadelphia School District. I also represent part of Philadelphia. So I'm very pleased to support this, and I certainly will be working with Representative Stephens and my colleagues in the House of Representatives to bring this legislation to fruition. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. I think Representative Tobash?
Thank you, Representative Stephens. My colleague, my friend, I so much appreciate you bringing this piece of legislation forward. It's great work, and I will mirror Representative Mertz's comments on thinking outside the box. Look, if I go to a town hall meeting in my district, the first question that is always asked has to do with property taxes. The property tax burden on our citizens in the 125th district is arduous and unbearable for many. And the fact of the matter is that you're taking a look at a piece of legislation right here that helps to reward the people that have been doing the right thing. And your comments on prioritizing how we're spending state dollars, believe me, that certainly resonates with me. It will resonate with my constituents. The fact of the matter is that property taxes, as I've mentioned, are burdensome. And the fact of the matter is that we've got a lot of money flowing into this horse race development fund. Not that it's not important, but as we prioritize things, property tax being, relief being number one, horse race development fund being somewhere down the list. So again, I appreciate your work. We will certainly be supporting this legislation, doing our best to make sure that we offer every form of property tax relief that we can to our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've also been joined by Representative Grove, a good friend from York County, who's been a leader on property tax reform issues and trying to address the property tax problem. To be clear, you know, this bill is just a small supplement for, as I said, 211 school districts in the state. Representative Grove has a much broader sweeping proposal that I was proud to join him in as a co-sponsor, and he's joined us and would like to offer a few comments as well.
I also want to commend my good friend Todd Stephens on some hard work tackling a very tough problem. This issue has been around driving back to 1991 when Governor Casey and the General Assembly kind of froze student growth in the school funding formula. It's an ongoing issue, you know, over 2 decades in the making. We're not going to solve it overnight, but this smart, out-of-the-box thinking plan puts us in the forefront to help our constituents. And when faced with policy decisions, I will choose my constituents over, you know, the gaming revenue or the horse race men any day of the week. So thank you very much. Thank you for your efforts in trying to create equalized funding and to try to help our public schools as well as our taxpayers. So thank you so much. I'm glad to be here, and I'll be with you, maybe not hand in hand, but side by side to move forward and get this done. So thanks, Todd.
Appreciate it.